This video is about solving inequalities that require more than one step. So to solve multi-step inequalities, we use the same steps as solving multi-step equations. So in number one, or in this problem, notice that we have parentheses. So in step one, we're going to use the distributive property. So remember that the distributive property, whatever is touching the parentheses, we're going to distribute into the parentheses and multiply with. So we're going to rewrite the beginning of the equation. So 3w plus 6 is less than or equal to negative 5w minus 10. Remember that you're multiplying. So negative 5 times w is negative 5w. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Then the second step, we need to get our variables together. So we're going to add 5w to both sides. And we're adding it because it was already negative. So we're going to add 5w to both sides. We get 8w plus 6 is less than or equal to negative 10. So now that the w is by itself on one side, we need to get the number on the other side together. So we are going to subtract 6 from both sides. So when I subtract 6 on both sides, I get 8w is less than or equal to negative 16. And I'm going to divide by 8. So w is less than or equal to negative 2. So step 4 then was we would divide by 8 on both sides. And then step 5 is our answer and graph. So in this case, it doesn't have a number line, so we're just going to draw a number line on here. Straight line with arrows. So on our number line, we can go wherever we want on the number line. So I'm just going to go kind of in the center. And at negative 2, I'm going to look at my inequality sign. So my inequality sign has a bar underneath it, which means it's a closed circle. And it's pointing to the left. So I'm going to shade to the left of that circle. And then under the circle, I need to label it with the number of my answer. So I have negative 2. So let's try a couple more where we solve and graph the inequalities. Remember, if the variable is on opposite sides, we have to switch the signs afterwards. Remember, if we divide by a negative, we need to flip our inequality sign. So in number one, there is a parenthesis. So we're going to distribute, and this is a negative sign. So remember, that's really a negative 1. So we're going to distribute a negative 1 into the parentheses, and we get negative 7c plus 18 minus 2c is greater than 0. So we can combine our like terms of our c values. So negative 7c minus 2c is negative 9c, plus 18 is less than 0. So we have the variable on one side. We need to get the number away from the variable. So we're going to subtract 18 on both sides. Negative 9c is greater than negative 18. And now we're going to divide by negative 9. Remember, when you divide by a negative number, that we need to flip our sign. So our sign was pointing to the right and was a greater than sign. Now it's going to become a less than sign. So c is less than 2. So when we go to graph that, a less than sign doesn't have a bar underneath, so it gets an open circle. And it's pointing to the left, so we're going to shade to the left of that circle and then label it with our numeric answer, so 2 in this case. Part B, we're going to distribute 4 to both terms. So we get 24y minus 48 minus 12y is greater than or equal to 0. So I have two y values here. I'm going to combine those. So I have 24 minus 12y, which gets me 12y minus 48 is greater than or equal to 0. We're going to add 48 to both sides. 12y is greater than or equal to 48. Now when I divide by 12 this time, 12 was a positive number, so my sign stays the same. And I have y is greater than or equal to 4. So because it's a greater than or equal to and that bar is underneath, we're going to have a closed circle. And it's pointing to the right, so we're going to shade to the right. And then underneath that, I'm going to have a 4. C, we have 4v plus 8 is greater than or equal to 6v plus 10. So we're going to move the smaller variable to the other side. So in this case, 4 is smaller, so I'm going to subtract 4v from both sides. 8 is greater than or equal to 2v plus 10. Then we're going to subtract 10 from both sides. So we get negative 2 is greater than or equal to 2v. We divide by 2. Negative 1 is greater than or equal to v. Now in this case, remember when we are graphing an inequality, our variable has to come first. So v and negative 1 are going to switch positions, switch sides of the sign, and then we're going to flip our sign. So instead of being a greater than, it's now going to be a less than or equal to. So less than or equal to, because there's that bar, it's a closed circle, and shade to the left. And then under that circle, we're going to place our number, which is negative 1.